going to be finishing the frame that I started. Last time we had just finished making the stitches on the inside of the frame. So what we need to do now is make sure that the piece of cloth is folded over onto the inside. So we want to make it all streamlined. We take our tape measure, or some of you like rulers, and we'll be measuring just the outside part of our frame. So just leave this, the inside lip, don't measure that, just measure the outside of the frame up here. So this is 1 inch, and this is about 1 1/4 inches. So what we then do is we go 1 inch outside of what we just measured. So this is 1 inch, so I add another inch to that, so I get 2 inches. Then going from the edge out here, I measure 2 inches here, use my pencil, make a little dart. This was about 1 1/4 inches, so I add 1 inch to that, it'll make it 2 1/4 inches. I go from the outside here to 2 1/4 inches on my tape measure. And I do that all the way around. And make sure that you keep this in mind. Do it from the corners as well, because we're going to be cutting the excess material off. So from this corner, have 2 inches. And it may be different for your frame. If your frame is thicker here, if the outside is thicker, the measurements may be a little bit different. Just make sure that you add 1 inch. Just doing it all the way around. Now I'll take my scissors, and I'll just make sure that I cut within the darts that I just made. And again, we're outside today. It's beautiful out here. All flush with my darts. Okay, and I still have my needle attached from the inside stitches that we did in my first video. So now that we've done that, we need to make a few other marks. The inside here, we have the metal posts, and these will eventually keep the picture frame, the picture inside of the picture frame. So we want to make sure that we mark off these metal posts so that we can make a small slice in our material so that the post goes right through it. So pulling the material a little bit taut over each of the metal posts, we just make a mark right over them. Now what we're going to do on each of those marks that we just made, we're just going to fold it in half and make a small slice the size of the post. And basically these are like undetectable. No one's really going to see these marks, and the material, believe it or not, will not fray around them. I believe it's because they're such small marks, and really the material isn't being pulled any more than it should be once the frame is done. Okay, so we have each one of our posts now has a small hole so that the fabric easily goes over it. What you can do is you can use that hole to then gauge how much material you'll have to fold over. Okay? So going from where your hole is, go back about 1/8 of an inch from that hole, or slice, and fold your material. I like to use my nails. You can use your iron. If you're inside, I'm outside today, I can't use an iron, but if you're inside, you can definitely use an iron. Now where I folded it, I pull it back over the hole, and we do that all the way around. So here's my hole, about, again, about 1/8 of an inch away from the hole, I make a fold. I'm just going to use my nails to make a nice line so that I know where that is. If you have to, you can trim off the material so that the hole isn't covered, because you want to make sure that at least where the hole is, the material isn't bunching up. So going through the same exact holes that you made, and this time it'll be easier because you can see where your last stitches are. Start from wherever you left off with your needle, go down through the hole, making sure that you go through the fold so that it keeps the material taut over the frame. You're going to start sewing all the way around, the same way that we did on the inside. And I just want you to see closely. This is where I've made the fold in the material so that there's no fraying material hanging out. And just like before, we find the holes all the way around the frame. And this is lots of fun. I mean, if you like arts and crafts, this is a very artsy and crafty thing to do. So again, we just go all the way through. Make sure that your material on the inside doesn't overlap on the outside. So if you have to pinch it in, use your fingers to just pinch it down. And this is fairly easy, and you'll see that you're overlapping your initial stitches, which is great because it makes it, if you look at the finished piece, it makes it look a little bit artsy, which is nice. Exciting. So we're just going to keep on sewing all the way around, and you get the general idea. So once that's done, you'll see on the inside it's nice and streamlined. Your metal post is right through the hole as it should be, and down here you'll be able to see all of your stitches on the outside, and this will happen all the way around. Now I'm going to keep sewing for you until I get to the corner so I can show you how you're going to tuck the corner in, because it's very important to do that the right way so that it's not hanging out at all. Okay. So now we've come to the last stitch before the corner, and what you want to do right before that last stitch is stop, put your needle out, take your corner piece, and just like we did when in my other video when we were making the picture that's going to go inside of the frame, you're going to pinch the edges like this, pinch them together, and you want the fold in there. So you want to make sure that maybe before you do that, that your fold is very much evident so that it doesn't get bunched up when you put it in. So you want to fold them together, pinch it, and then fold again. And it's that easy. So I'm going to show you one more time. Pinch it together and then fold again. Hold it with your finger, and then you're just going to continue sewing and make sure that you get that part under your material. So make sure that it's folded under the material so that you don't see any of the fraying edges, what I have here. You can see the fraying edge. Just push it under and sew it down. And again, this is so much fun once you get the hang of it. And we're just going to keep on going all the way around just that way. So there you have it, and you have a very streamlined corner. So it looks really nice. Now you're going to continue to go all the way around, and remember to pinch in and fold under for the corners. The next thing that we want to do, this is the picture that we're going to put inside of the frame, and what we did in the last video was we just covered the outside, but the back now looks like this. So it looks a little bit messy. You can see the edges, you can see too much in the back. We want to make that look better. So take another piece of poster board. You're just going to measure your picture. So straight across is 4 inches, and the length is about 5 3/4 inches. So, straight across. Good enough so that it looks nice. We want it to look professional. And again, when you cut off the corners, make sure that you curve the edges. So use your scissors and just curve the edges. Now we want to make sure that this fits over top of this. This is a little bit too big, so I'm just going to cut off a little bit more. That happens. I mean, that's why we stop and we measure it and we make sure that it fits the way that we want it to. If it doesn't, then we keep on going. Okay. Alright, that is so much better. It goes on there perfectly. What you want to do is, using your Elmer's glue, or you can use tacky glue as I said last week, or on the last video. I'm just going to make a pretty decent amount of glue in there, just to make sure that this sticks. And you're going to fit it over top, push it down. Okay? And you're going to wait for that to dry. So you're going to set that aside. In the meantime, if you'll notice on one of the finished frames, we've done a little bit of artwork here, and that just makes it a little more special. So I did my artwork in the colors that are inside of my picture. So I used pinks and purples. Because I was using a brown background, you have to take into account that the yellow is going to come out a little bit green. The green itself is going to come out with, if you have a yellow background, a little bit more teal in color. So I have a green marker here, and again, these are fabric markers. You can find them at any Joann's or Walmart or any craft store. And what I can do is I can add any design that I'd like here. I can get really creative and just go around the board getting really creative. Great. So we've added a little extra design there, which is kind of cute. And as I said, you can just get creative and add whatever you'd like. Okay, so we took a little break there. Now basically this has dried and this is the back of it, so that looks great. What I want to do now is just show you, after you do the little designs around here, you can let this dry because sometimes the markers, they are a little bit damp, but just let it dry. In the back now you're going to have your posts here, and I'm just going to show you underneath the post. This is how the stitches look on one of the frames that's completely done. So that's how it's going to look. It's going to be nice and tight around the edges. And as you can see, you can't really see much from the inside as far as fraying or anything like that. Now, with the type of frames that I picked out from Walmart or Joann's fabric store, or they have holes in them, and the holes you can put a little post inside of the hole, and that helps it to stand up. So now all that you do, take your finished picture, you're going to push the posts down, the metal posts, and you can just stick the wooden post anywhere to keep this standing. And that's the finished product. Thank you so much for joining us. Please visit www.mylovelybetty.com to see the finished items. We also have them for sale. Have a great day and see you on my next video.